Hi guys, it's a while since I've done anything vehicle related, but today is going to be a vehicle related one because I've got to do everybody's favourite thing to do on a Saturday morning, and that's take the back bumper of my car to try and locate a leak. I have had water ingress. This is a Mk7 Fiesta, and I've had water ingress into the boot, and apparently this is not an uncommon occurrence with Fiestas, with Focus, and possibly some other models, I don't know. So you see we've got the shaped carpet boot liner in there. You'll notice this is out and there's paper down there because the water has been coming in this corner and it's been running down there into the spare wheel well, and I've currently got the back seat base out and a towel there just to try and prevent water running down there and to the carpets in the front. And it's been coming in this corner, the rear right hand, and I have tried all kinds of things. I've done some reading around, and there are a few common places where water gets in. One of them is this seam here, where these are fitted together. This seam is sealed, but these seals wear over time, so it needs to be resealed. I've sort of given this a good cleaning, rubbing with a cloth to try and see if that's the case. You can see there, that's the gutter, the rain gutter that runs to the back, and obviously down this seam here, and it gets in here apparently. I've checked that, I've poured jugs and jugs and jugs of water over it and nothing seems to get in. Another place is down behind the light cluster. There's a seal which goes around the hole where the plug goes into the lights. I've checked, I've cleaned, I've lubricated with silicone grease and refitted that, and that one seems to be okay. So I checked this to make sure this was okay, and again this was okay, and gave this a light lubrication with silicone grease as well. Checked that, and as I said, I've poured gallons of water over the back and nothing was getting in. And I've noticed that it only seems to get in after being driven on roads where there is standing water or puddles and the like. So the next thing to check is there are two possible locations it's getting in behind here. One is directly underneath here, and it's a couple of holes that Ford cover with blanking tape. It's obviously a standard panel, and I'm assuming those holes are used for something on a specific model. I don't know, but they cover them with blanking tape. And then there's the air vents, which have got rubber flaps to seal. I'm hoping that this is what it is, and apparently it's quite a common thing. So to remove the bumper, we have a couple of bolts behind here. Let's hopefully be able to show them. We need to pop off. I'll need to pop off the mud flaps as well on this one, and then the inner wheel cover here. There's two bolts behind here. We've got two T25 Torx bolts, one either side, just underneath the lights, so I'm quite glad I don't have to take the lights off again. And then there's two bolts underneath, and then the rest is popped on. So I'm going to go ahead and start unbolting those, and I'll just, because I've not really got the facility to set this up on a tripod, I'll just have to kind of show you bits as I go. Down here at the wheel well, and you can see the two holes there, and that's where these have come from. Now these are a pain in the backside because these are designed to be able to fit and never come out again. You can see they've got a pin that pushes through that expands them. So for refitting, what we need to do is push that pin out, and that one right there, I couldn't show you that because I've only got one free hand while I'm holding the camera, but that one right there you can see is with the pin pushed out, and you can see it obviously allows that to press in, allows that to push in and out of the hole much easier. So refitting, push the pin out, put it in, and then press the pin back in. Quick one from underneath the car, the right hand side. It has come to my attention that you can actually access, trying to get this, excuse the wonky camera angle, you can see the clip there, that's the upper one that goes through the mud flap and the cover. And what I tried to do there was push the pin out the other way, which just didn't want to work at all, thinking that might make it easier. So I've actually pushed it in from the wheel arch side, and I should now be able to grab that, pull it out with pliers, making that pop out more easily. You can see there I've also disconnected the fog light bulb. So you can see there I've took the mud flaps off because once the pins which hold it on are removed, just a clamp fit, and I will clean that down and the inside of the mud flaps. The next thing to remove is this bolt in here. Which I'm going to get that focused for you, hopefully. Sorry about this. There you go. While I'm here and I had the Torx bit handy, I just popped off these two, which are here. Underneath here, underneath the bumper, these are not, as I thought, bolts. These are actually another type of clip. Same kind of principle as the ones at the mud flaps, but they look like this right here. They are a two-part with a top part clipping in like so, and then this, which works as the expander. So you pull that out, it looks like a cover for a screw, and then you can pull the other one out. To show you what it looks like fitted, it looks kind of like that. So we've got all the fastenings off, and you can see the bumper starting to come away. Top tip and new discovery to me, literally just this minute, trying all kinds of wiggling and jiggling about. But the trick seems to be the catches are here, and as you can see down the edge of the panel, there's nothing to there. So when this bumper is fitted, I can get this back into place and just kind of show you. So when it's fitted in place like this, the trick is to actually kind of push here and lever here, which I'll try and kind of demonstrate. So you're pushing in here with my finger, which you can't quite see, and then you're levering up down here with this, which pulls it forward and up off the clips. You know what, guys, I've decided to go all professional and give you a treat, and I've dug out my Gorilla Pod, and I'm just going to kind of plant it down here on the road and hope that nobody comes past and runs over my phone, because that would really upset me. You can see I've removed the little sort of trim panel at the bottom because that started to come away when I started twiddling and tweaking the bumper. I thought, what the hell, get that out of the way. And as you can see, it's hanging off there quite nicely. So I'm going to stick this on the tripod so you'll be able to see the actual process of removing that side. I think that's kind of in place. So essentially, as I was saying, the clips up here have got to come forward. So if you can kind of lever up here and press there, like you just saw there, hopefully. So I'm pressing in with the palm of my hand here and kind of levering where possible up here, and I lift that a little bit. That's obviously come away on the other side. And there we go. Now, alrighty, so that's the bumper removed. There it is. I'm just going to scoot this over here, just again in case anyone ran past and squashed my bumper, because that would upset me as well. You can see the fog light hanging down there. You can see the air vents. Now this is one of the potential sources. They, however, look fine. You've got these rubber flappy bits which are flapping quite nicely, and that looks well sealed. This is the potential culprit for letting water in. As you can see, that's literally just hanging there, and also on this side is starting to go as well. Not quite as bad, but it's kind of going over. So it's kind of it's not duct tape. It's a fabric of some description, and you can see there's also a cover there. Yeah, it's not the best thing in the world. It's an easy to fix thing, but it's not the best thing in the world. But anyway, what I'm going to do at this point is pack up all the stuff and put everything out of the way. And I'm going to have a walk down to the hardware store in the village and get some RTV silicone, and then I am going to fashion a repair from a chunk of duct tape and some RTV silicone to kind of seal the edges, which hopefully will last a good long while. And likewise, flappy bits look flaptastic on this side with quite a bit of dust. There we go, flaptastic. Top tip number 2, sometimes you break things to learn things. I decided while I was at it, I'm going to pop out these vents, give the whole area a clean and refit them, and you can see some evidence of moisture that's kind of run down there anyway. In pulling out this vent, I broke off the bottom catch, which sits like this. Whoops, get that focused for you. Now it sits like this. So, like so, as you can see. I'm going to glue that back on, give that a good slathering of epoxy resin to try and make sure it holds. And I'm probably going to reseat that with a dab of silicone just to be absolutely sure it doesn't start flapping about and just become another place for water to come in. But what I've just discovered is, having looked at the broken one, the way to remove these, the easy way to remove these, is to stick your finger in here, and you just about get your finger in here like so, under this bottom flap, and push up and lever this bottom one. This then pops out like so, and then the whole thing just drops out. But you can see how those catches work. Next little update. So what I've got here is, you can see the vents off, as previously mentioned, with the broken clip, which is currently epoxy gluing. What I've got up here, I'm not saying this is going to be the best way to solve the thing long term, but we'll see, time will tell on that. What I've got up here, as you can see, hopefully you can see that kind of wiggle a little bit as I poke it. I've got a piece of gaffer tape stuck at the back, and then I've splodged in some silicone. Now this is ordinary bathroom silicone sealant. I was going to go down to the store and get some RTV, because my RTV is set up and it's just a solid plug of black rubber, and a neighbour just happened to pop over as I was about to set off and asking how the whole thing was going, chatting to him, and he said, oh, I've got a brand new tube of general purpose bathroom silicone, which I've only needed to use a little bit for. Is that any good? And I sort of went, well, you know what the hell, let's give it a bash. Worst comes to the worst, I know I have to take everything off and do it again now. So it's kind of, I'm going with a belt and braces approach. So gaffer tape at the back, blob of silicone in there, and once that's set up a little bit, I'm going to stick some gaffer tape over there, and then I'm going to silicone, whoops, I just stuck my finger right in that wasn't wise. I'm going to silicone around the edges of the gaffer tape. So we've got a belt and braces approach, and hopefully that will do the job. Also, when I refit this, I'm going to put a little bit of silicone around the edges of that seal as well. I'm going to put the good one in this side, because this is the side that was leaking, so I don't want to kind of get a false reading if that one starts leaking because of the clip, and we'll see how that goes. Unbelievably annoyingly, I just filmed this entire thing without actually pressing the record button, so here goes again. I've just taken the tape off so we can do that again. So a bit of gaffer tape, it's the silver variety, because that's the luxury version, of course, and the deluxe, this is the deluxe repair. And then we can kind of wiggle this in. This is a little bit of a fiddle. You kind of got to wiggle in through this hole down here and get this in place, and then press this in place from the back like so. Give it a good firm press down. The guy's just sitting here having a coffee and waiting for the silicone sealer to go off a little bit before I progress with the repair, and watching a bit of Vice Grip Garage. I wonder what Derek's doing right now. Anyway, it seems the preferred professional method for fixing this is old expired license plates. Now, unfortunately, we can't do that in the UK, because old expired license plates don't exist, because they belong to the car for the life of the car, and they're assigned to the car. They're also made of plastic, which means they're a little bit rubbish for welding. So, sadly, that one's out of the window, so it's back to the old standby. Whoops. So, it's back to the old standby. Gaffer tape. Look at that. Well, that looks factory. Thanks, Derek. Next step, after careful application of tape, is careful application of more silicone sealer. And I'm going to seal around the edges. As I said, this is kind of a belt and braces approach. That's the whole thinking behind this. Hopefully this will work nicely and it'll last for a good long time. I will find out in due course, and I will, of course, do an update video a few weeks and then a few months and what have you down the line, and I will be keeping a regular check for a while, of course. Hopefully I won't be doing an update too soon saying, damn it didn't work. So I'm using, with some hastily applied straight from the nozzle silicone, I am using my special Mk applicator. This is from the McDonald's range of automotive accessories, and can be found in the little condiments aisle. Some people apparently use it to stir their hot beverages. Who would have thought? This is the Mk 1000, available at any good McDonald's store, and very, very useful indeed. So there we go. I think I might put a little bit more on there. Oh, look at that. Beautiful, smooth, perfect. I could have made a living icing cakes. As I sit back and admire this beautifully smooth application of silicone sealer on this second layer of duct tape, I'm having a bit of a muse of things in general, and it's kind of strange how I've worked on watches for years, and I've also worked with mechanics for years. I actually used to work as a mechanic many years ago, and there's been a great many changes in vehicles since I did so. And while there are very, very many similarities between mechanics and watchmaking, the obvious one being they're both mechanical devices, one's just considerably smaller, something's just occurred to me in that in watchmaking, the general rule of thumb is less is more. For example, you often find vintage watches that are caked in oil, and there's nothing fault-wise in a watch that can be cured by adding more oil. There just isn't. I mean, it's as simple as that. It has to have the right amount of oil to be right. Whereas in the car world, it's a definite more is more kind of thing, you know, where as a general rule, where a little of something will do a good job, then a lot more of it will also do a good job, and possibly gooder, you know. So yeah, a little bit of musings while I finish up my coffee here, and yeah. And while I was just looking at this bit down here, I saw that there was a little gap down there. I didn't like it. I didn't like the way it was looking at me. It was looking at me funny, so I threw some silicone in there as well. You know, belt and braces, and silicone and gaffer tape, obviously, also. You know, more is more. Righty, so much belt and braces going on here, I could open a hipster accessory shop. So we've got a silicone round the bead of the air vent. This is the good one with a good clip, which is from the left side, which I'm going to swap to the right side to kind of minimise the possibility of that leaking on the right side, and kind of see if it was the vent or if it was the hole. Hopefully, anyway, I don't know. In the meantime, I'm just going to have to look for another vent and hope the other one holds up. Alright, so here's hoping with this one. This is the old right hand side one. That's the broken clip, which I've slathered liberally in epoxy resin, and it seems pretty solid, so fingers crossed on that one. But as I say, a bit more silicone around the edge of that before I slap that one into that hole there. Alrighty, so this is where we're at. So we've got belt and braces tape and silicone. We've got the air vents refitted and a dash of silicone for seasoning, and this is as far as I'm doing today. Really nice day, sun's out, it's spring in Scotland, which means it's usually about -5°C and snowing, but today is a rare exception. The sun's out, and obviously because I'm sealing up these holes to try and fix a leak, we're probably now going to have the longest, hottest, driest spring and summer and autumn on record, and I'll have to wait for winter before we get any more rain to see if it actually leaks into the boot. But we will see. We'll see how that goes. It's a beautiful day, so what I'm going to do now is wrap this up. I'm going to do a little bit of cleaning of the mud flaps, and it transpires that the Mk7 1000, which is ideal for silicone application, is also good for cleaning out the grooves in the mud flaps, which are held on by these spring clips and then the two push pins. So I'm going to go ahead and clean those up, and then I'm going to ram everything into the boot, with the exception of course of the bumper, because that won't fit in the boot. That will just have to go into the hallway where I can trip on it in the morning when I come down half asleep. And I'm going to leave these to set up, because this silicone stuff, bathroom silicone, takes something like 12 hours to cure, I think, something like that. Thereabouts. So yeah, so tomorrow, hopefully, wake up, it'll be nice and sunny like this, come down, check all that, and then it's a case of fit it all back together and go and try and find some puddles to drive through. Refitting the bumper, I'm not going to bother showing the refitting of the bumper. It's obviously clip it back in place, put the pins back in, push the pins through the holes to spread the grommety bits, the two bolts, the Torx things, you know, just play the first bit of the video backwards, you'll be fine. So that wraps us up for this one. I'm going to leave this for the silicone to set up. As it's nice, dry, sunny, that should cure quite quickly. I think it takes something like 12 hours or so to set up fully, so I'm going to leave that set up before I put the bumper back on, so I can have a poke and a prod and a general check just to make sure that it looks okay before I put the bumper back on. Because, well, it's not the hardest thing in the world. You don't want to be taking the thing on and off unnecessarily too much. I need to go and roast some coffee beans to give to the very nice neighbour that let me use the silicone that he had as a bit of a thank you. So everybody loves fresh coffee beans, and if they don't, they should, because it is the drink of drinks. It's amazing. Everybody should love it. Proper coffee, proper fresh roast coffee. Anyway, so I'm going to do that, and I've also got watches on the bench which are not going to fix themselves. If only, hey. But I would also like to get a little bit of a walk in and some fresh air in this lovely, lovely weather. Look at this beautiful day. Look at it. It's amazing. Look at that. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I will come in with an update in a couple of weeks, a month, something like that. I'll see how this goes, and I'll let you know if this has done the job. So thanks for watching. See you in the next video.